Now, I don't know about you, but game week 29 is already one to forget. So I want to put it behind me now and focus on the next game week. So here are players to buy and avoid for game week 30. I've got to start off a game week 30 video by talking about Mo Salah. Now, of course, I'm conscious there's an international break between now and game week 30, but regardless, I think he's in the conversation, right, to be a top transfer target ahead of game week 30. He's back fit and in the Liverpool team and looks like he'll be good to start, providing no international break injuries. Looks like he'll be good to start for game week 30, right? He is the top player for expected points across the next 3 game weeks. And I'd also say he's the best captain for game week 30 and 31, in my opinion. We'll get to that in a second. I'd say in general, you know, he's the best player, right, in FPL history, in my opinion. And he's one of few players in the league that actually have over 1 expected attacking return per 90. That means combined expected goal involvement per 90 is over 1. So he's expected to get an attacking return because he's a 90-minute man. He's expected to get an attacking return pretty much every time he walks out onto a football pitch. Now, I just wanted to look at the fixtures over the next couple of game weeks, right? So you look here, game week 30 is on the left, game week 31 on the right. Game week 30, you tell me or work out for me who you think is the best captain for game week 30. I'd say there's definitely a couple of options. I'd say it's between Son, who's got Luton at home, and Salah, who has Brighton at home. Now, I'd say Son probably has the better fixture, but Salah's probably the better player playing for the better team and is probably slightly just a better option. I don't feel like Brighton are all that clever defensively. They've kept about as many clean sheets this season as Luton have, right? And then game week 31, Salah is at home to Sheffield United. So for all those reasons, I think based on the fact he's probably the best captain for the next couple of game weeks, you're going to want to get him in your team. And that might be quite hard for some players because at the moment he's very lowly owned. You might have spent cash in other areas, and of course, he's the second most expensive player in the game. So getting him in might be a bit of a challenge, and I'd always think he's got to be the first guy to think about because, yeah, he's the best captain in my opinion, game week 30, best captain in 31, looking at those fixtures. And yeah, he's obviously a really good FPL option. For me, I don't have him in my team, and I can't get to him with my free transfers. And I'm almost of the right mind to just wildcard in game week 30. We might not have all the information about double game week fixtures at that time. But I think regardless, you know, given that he's the best captain for those 2 game weeks, he's worth hitting the wildcard on just to get the best captain in my opinion. And of course, you know, most of the players that are going to double are some of the best players in the game anyway. So even if you wildcard kind of early in game week 30, you'll probably have a team nicely set for the double game weeks anyway. But yeah, Mo Salah definitely the top target in my opinion for game week 30. And that kind of leads me on to another point about Erling Haaland, right? When you look at the fixtures, yes, the draft hand expected points are really high for him, but he plays Arsenal in game week 30, who I would say are the best defence in the league. And like we said, just go back to those fixtures again. I'd probably say Son or Salah is the best captain in game week 30, obviously not Haaland. And then game week 31, Salah has Sheffield United and Haaland has Aston Villa. Yes, Aston Villa are not the best, but when you compare the two, you know, Salah v Sheffield United at home, and Haaland, the choice is kind of easy for a captain. And a lot of people would have sold him, particularly if he didn't free hit in game week 29. A lot of people would have sold him for, you know, a Morris or a Solanke or someone like that to cover them for, you know, the blank game week 29 and the double in 28. I don't think it's worth buying him back just yet. I think you could do without him until, well, at least game week 31, maybe game week 32, just because he's not the best player for those 2 game weeks, in my opinion. And when you're spending 14.2 million on an FPL asset, you at least want them to have decent fixtures or be a captain option. And yeah, just for the next couple of game weeks, I don't think he quite ticks that box. And I'm not going to go into some conspiracy that Haaland is a sell or anything like that. I definitely think he's a good option, right? And if you have him in your team already, I'm not telling you to sell him. I'm just saying probably if you don't have him, or, you know, you're looking to wildcard, etc., you don't necessarily need to pick him for a couple more game weeks. And also, right, yes, his stats are still really good, but he's not quite reaching the levels that he did last season. Last season, he scored more goals than starts that he made, right? Now he's got, well, I'll say only 18 goals from 22 starts. It's not the level that he was at last season. He is also missing a lot of big chances. He's missed by far and away the most big chances in the league of any player this season. And you can see there, he's massively underperforming his XG. there aren't really many players in the game. I don't think there are any in the league that are underperforming their XG by so much. It's over 3 for Haaland, which shows just how poor his finishing has been. Yes, I still think he's one of the best players in the league, but just for the next couple of game weeks, I think he could be a player you don't need to have. Apologies, because we are a little bit Liverpool heavy in this video, but I really like Kelleher as an option. And of course, he's definitely going to be starting for Liverpool while Alisson is injured. And at 3.8 million, I think he is the cheapest starting goalkeeper in the game right now. Obviously, he's not the first choice goalkeeper for Liverpool. And I've put him in this list mainly as one to keep an eye on, because ultimately, you know, we've got an international break where there's a couple more weeks for Alisson to get back fitting in that Liverpool team. I've just got a feeling he's going to be out for a little bit longer. I think they're kind of keeping coy about the nature of his injury, and I think it could be one that's ended his season, to be honest. But I think we'll see. I think Alisson will definitely come back at least later on in the season, if not at all. That's kind of the nature of the injury I think he's got. But with Kelleher, right, he is playing really well. He is. I don't think Liverpool are really missing Alisson at all with the way that Kelleher is playing. And at 3.8 million for a Liverpool goalkeeper, I think it's really good value. And one thing about the Liverpool goalkeeper compared to other top teams is particularly Alisson, and you can see here Kelleher, they make a lot of saves. He's got 2.86 saves per 90, which isn't quite the level to get him saves bonus every time he plays, but it is enough to suggest that he's going to get saves bonus now and then, similar to what Alisson does. And of course, I do feel, I know he's only kept 2 so far, but I do feel like there are clean sheets to come for Liverpool, right? They're a decent defence. They've got 2 of the best centre-backs in the world, and when Trent and Robertson are back fit, you know, they start keeping the ball a bit more through Trent, etc. I do think their clean sheet numbers are going to increase. And at 3.8 million, right, in a game at the moment where I don't think there is a massively outstanding goalkeeper, I really like Kelleher as an option, particularly for game week 30 and 30. I mean, who knows, right? They could even keep a clean sheet against Man United in 32, and then Crystal Palace and Fulham after that. Obviously, there's a risk that Alisson comes back at some point in time, but most people probably have Areola in their team and maybe Dubravka. Newcastle being pretty useless defensively, right? You could move Dubravka onto Kelleher and then have a nice Areola-Kelleher rotation in goal. And with Liverpool potentially having a double game week later on in the season, I think it'd be quite nice to own Kelleher for that. And like I said, I think there's going to be clean sheets to come for him. He's only 3.8 million, makes a decent amount of saves. He's definitely one to keep an eye on. And if, like me, you're planning to wildcard in game week 30 or maybe even 31, I think he's really a player worth going for. Another bargain basement Liverpool player, but I also think Connor Bradley is really worth considering. I'm pretty sure he's got the highest points per game because he's barely made it, only 6 starts, right? But I'm pretty sure he has the highest points per game of any player in FPL at the moment. And when you look at the attacking returns compared to the starts, right? 4 attacking returns from 6 starts for a right back, 0.32 expected returns per 90, you know, is better than some of the midfielders that people actually own in the game at the moment, right? And yes, a very good level of returns. Of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold is the Liverpool first choice right back where Connor Bradley is playing at the moment. I don't know about you though. I have a feeling, and this is one we need to keep an eye on, similar to Kelleher, I guess, but I have a feeling because Bradley has been playing so well at right back, and I'd actually say as a seemingly stronger defender than Trent, I'd probably go that far. I think we could see Trent moving into midfield and Bradley staying at right back. I think that is a genuine possibility, and I think we'll see Klopp experiment with that in coming game weeks. So it is a little bit of a risk, don't get me wrong, obviously, with Trent being back and, yeah, playing in Bradley's position. But like I said, I just got a feeling that Trent moves into the midfield. And ultimately, right, at 4.1 million, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't start some games. I can't believe for the life of me that for the rest of the season, he's not going to start anymore with Trent coming back. The way he's been playing has been exceptional, and I think Klopp, he's got no choice but to start him in some of these games, unless, of course, the form drops off and then we could see him being left out of the team. But I think certainly at 4.1 million, for a starting Liverpool defender with the level of attacking returns that he's got, you can't ignore him, surely. Now, I'm completely aware that Solanke has got 3 pretty nice fixtures coming up, and when you look at his attacking returns, they're not too bad for the season, right? I just have a feeling with 4.5 million forwards emerging. We've got Muniz of Fulham and Semenyo as Bournemouth, who I think are perfectly pickable FPL options, particularly for your bench. And Salah and Son being back now, I think we could see a lot of FPL teams moving towards a 3-5-2 formation. I really do feel like there are more pickable midfielders in the game than there are forwards. By more so that I mean you could be a 3-5-2, and I think that's the best formation. And as a result, I think Solanke might have to fall victim when you make that move. I do think that's going to be a common move and probably the right move for a lot of FPL managers to make. And just in general with Solanke, right? Yes, he scored 15 goals this season, but he's only got 1 attacking return in his last 4 games. And he's not been playing to the same level as he was when he got those 15 goals, or 14 of those 15 goals, while he's been carrying that knee injury. And I think the main reason people had him in their team, right, was for the really nice double in 28. And yeah, just the fact he was a captain option or a triple captain option for that game week, right? His recent form is not great. He plays for Bournemouth, who aren't the best team. And Semenyo is kind of matching his attacking returns recently for nearly 3 million less. And I'm just going to repeat it. I think there's going to be a transition of FPL teams from what is currently a template of 3-4-3, Solanke, Watkins, Haaland up front. I think things are going to move towards a 3-5-2. Players starting to bring Salah back alongside Son, probably Saka in there, Palmer, Haaland, and then just Haaland and Watkins up front. I don't think there's going to be space for someone like Solanke anymore. And of course, with Liverpool having some really nice fixtures coming up and Darwin Núñez looking to be more of a minutes guarantee, he could be a better option than Solanke as well. I just feel like time is almost up with Solanke, and just wanted to highlight it in this video. Alright, and that's the end of the video. I'm really conscious, of course, there's an international break between now and the deadline for Game Week 30, right? So a lot of things could happen, players could get injured, etc. But Game Week 29 has been pants for me, and I'd imagine a lot of other FPL managers as well, right? So I wanted to erase it from my memory and just think ahead to Game Week 30. And maybe if you're in that mindset too, you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the players I suggested there, and if there were any that I'm missing. If you enjoyed it, of course, please leave me a like rating. You can subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel just there if you want to see more content from me, if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers for watching.